The only one that was a problem was A&P. And they actually had said, yes, they were going to change the hiring practices, and they did not. They hired 2 people, I believe. And then in 1963, we had a picket line at A&P every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from September through December. And we chose one that was close to the First AME church because we could keep our picket signs, and it was cold and wet, and people could go over there and have coffee. But the manager for all of the Northwest A&P stores was named Robert E. Lee. And it became kind of a joke at the Corps meetings when the negotiators or whoever was in charge of that particular, I think David Lamb was in charge of the picketing for that store, and we would have reports at the meetings of what took place, and it was always, you know, a big laugh when we reported that Robert E. Lee still said there wasn't any problem.
A couple of recollections I have. That was the 12th and near Madison, but might have been Union Street.
Yeah. Yes,
A&P.
Union, 12th and Union.
The very first time that I picketed was at that store, and my picket captain was James Washington Jr., the world famous, and I don't think he was world famous at that time, incredible sculptor artist who was an active Corps member and one of our chief negotiators, and just a super human being. And I remember how reassuring it was to me going on the very first picket line holding my little sign, and not used to standing out in public holding a sign and having people in cars go by and look, and, you know, feeling very uncertain. I mean, I knew I wanted to be there, I knew I wanted to do this, I knew this was important, but it was not comfortable, and it did not feel natural to me. And having his presence there, this was a very tall man, if you ever saw him, very tall, very dignified, and dressed in, you know, in his business suit, and just someone that you would just say, oh, anything that you tell me to do, I'd be happy to do. And that just made all the difference to me, that here was this wonderful man that was guiding us in this very ordinary activity. I mean, when you go on the picket line, that's not real exciting. Really. It's not real exciting. It gets real boring real quickly.
Well, and you get people hurl nasty comments at you.
Yes, indeed.
Take your leaflet and throw it down, or tear it up and throw it in your face. And
the other thing I remember about that particular site, because being in the being definitely in the central area, and it had really a very good, had a lot of people coming to it. And so our presence there and talking with people and explaining to them, giving the leaflet, if it wasn't thrown away, really looking them in the eye and saying, this is what we're doing, this is why we're doing it, we'd like to have your help and cooperation, and so on. And I remember one woman, this was a Negro woman, it seems so strange to say that, but anyway, she explained to our picketer, who happened to be Bob Windsor, who was a very fine attorney, later judge, walking on our picket line. And she said to him, well, I don't want to shop there. I'm just going to go in and cash a check, because sometimes it was hard to cash a check in those days, and A&P would do that. And he said, how much do you want to cash your check for? And she said, $20. And he pulled out $20, handed it to her, said, I'll take your check. And she walked away.